firefighting by cabin crew. The cabin crew as a firefighter has got to keep him or herself safe in the first place, because if the cabin crew or firefighter becomes ineffective or injured, who would fight the fire then? To effect this keeping safe factor, several auxiliary firefighting equipment and protective gear are made available to the cabin crew. A cabin crew should fight the fire with alacrity that could be best mustered by him or her. For this, the necessary guidelines are as follows. Cabin crew member has to acquire the fire extinguisher from the nearest available location. He or she has to locate the base of the fire. If it is not visible, the cabin crew might have to remove the obstruction or screen by cutting it open with the help of fire axe, also known as crash axe. After and or during the cutting procedure, the cabin crew might have to touch, hold and or bend some metal structures, turned hot by the fire, and in such cases, he or she has to use the asbestos gloves. Hold the fire extinguisher by its carrying handle only because during its use, the temperature of the cylinder goes well below the mark bearable by human skin. Break the protective seal with the help of the lever meant for that purpose or pull out the tap, as the system of the fire extinguisher might be. Aim at the base of the fire and discharge the content in short bursts. Extinguish the fire entirely. Duties of other cabin crew not fighting the fire. The cabin crew members, other than the ones fighting the fire, are to perform the job of the 12th man in a cricket team. They are to anticipate and furnish all the requisite help needed by the firefighter, and at the same time, to look after the safety of the passengers, especially those near the fire. For this, they are to coordinate amongst themselves, and to comply with the following jobs. Communicate the happening, relating its magnitude and dilution to the commander of the flight either through the cabin crew in charge or directly over the intercom, if so desired by the commander, periodically. Shift the passengers from the vicinity of the fire-affected zone. Remove all emergency equipment from the vicinity of the aforementioned location. Furnish or arrange to keep ready further supply of fire extinguishers, fire axes, portable oxygen cylinders, full face masks, asbestos gloves and first aid kits, etc. as anticipated to be required. Strict vigilance is to be enforced to observe that none of the passengers is smoking despite the no smoking sign having been switched on from the cockpit, only if it is a smoking flight, otherwise the sign remains on throughout the flight. Close the air lues, air inlets, so that fresh oxygen does not aggravate the fire. Pull out all the circuit breakers, if any such are located near the area of occurrence, as a precautionary measure. Provide wet towels, and advise the passengers to breathe through these to prevent inhalation of smoke and or toxic fumes. Provide first aid to persons requiring it. Presence of smoke and or fire in the toilets. All modern aircraft toilets are constructed with fireproof material to minimize this problem. In addition to this, the toilets are fitted with their individual fire extinguisher, which activates with the rise of temperature or initiation of smoke inside the toilet. This sort of happening normally occurs because of some non-law-abiding and errant persons who, without realizing the gravity of a fire hazard in a flying aircraft, smoke inside the toilet. In addition to all the safety devices effective in the toilets, an audio-visual warning system originates from each individual toilet to alert the crew and to pinpoint the concerned or affected toilet. When the cabin crew members receive such audio-visual signals, they remain duty-bound to investigate the cause of such warning irrespective of whether the fire had initiated actually or if it was a false alarm. In both cases, they are required to probe thoroughly to detect whether any fire is persisting. In case of detection of any fire, they are to take requisite action as stated earlier to fight and extinguish the fire. The louvre of the particular toilet is to be blocked and its door is to be locked from outside and kept in that condition until the aircraft reaches its destination. The set audio-visual indication system should be reset so that it turns effective once again and could emit similar indications in case of a recurrence of the fire during the remaining part of the flight. However, through the process of resetting, one particular indication would not get reset and shall stay so, to indicate the happening to the engineering personnel on the ground. Later, at a base station, the engineering personnel would essentially carry out a thorough check to detect and rectify the damage, if any, replace the auto fire extinguisher of the toilet, if found used, and also redress the warning system. Summary. The nature of the fire in an aircraft cabin can be segregated into three categories, such as general fire, oil fuel fire, and electrical fire. Origination and continuation of every fire essentially require the presence of all the three following items, such as material, heat, oxygen. For firefighting, it is essential and the matter of utmost importance to pinpoint the fountainhead or the base of the fire first and fast. Presence of smoke or fire in toilet normally occurs because of some non-law-abiding and errant persons who, without realizing the gravity of a fire hazard in a flying aircraft, smoke inside the toilet. The cabin crew members, other than the ones fighting the fire, are to anticipate and furnish all the requisite help needed by the firefighter and at the same time to look after the safety of the passengers, especially those near the fire.